The most anticipated weekend of college football has just concluded. Across the country, rivals face each other in notorious matchups, earning the winners bragging rights for the entire year, to which they will not forget. Welcome to Penn State Sports Night. I'm your host, Charley Drechsler, joined alongside Kenzie, Farrey, and Julia Henry to break down Rivalry weekend. Today, we are here to discuss the game, the Iron Bowl, the Lone Star Showdown, and the Old Oaken Bucket matchups. First, let's talk about the most notable game in all of college football, to which I wanted neither team to win. The game, Michigan versus Ohio State. Julia?
Yeah, it was an interesting game for sure. Ryan Day finally able to beat Michigan after 4 seasons of not really being able to. So huge for them. Ohio State able to win that game 27-9. And you saw Michigan players stay on that field. There was not about to be any flag planting after what occurred last season. Really, Ohio State, now they'll march on to the Big Ten Championship, Indiana. And it kind of seems like it's their trophy to lose. They're the defending champions. Wasn't too much that happened in that game, minus, I'm sure you'll touch on some of the incidents with the officials.
Yeah, I was going to say, the Ohio State offense definitely made it clear that the officials couldn't affect the game too much, as they did just outscore Michigan. But I do have to say, there was the bobble touchdown that, personally, I think it wasn't a touchdown, and even on TV they said it wasn't a touchdown, but the refs automatically said it was a touchdown on the field, which I think there wasn't conclusive evidence to overturn that then. But I would say that was not Ohio State touchdown. Should have been Michigan touchback. Michigan should have had the ball at 25. And then as well with the Michigan player headbutting the official, I think he got let off a little easy, not being ejected.
I don't know how he wasn't ejected.
Yeah, that was intense for the first quarter.
Especially for not disrespecting the game. We saw Brutus. He disrespected the field. He got on the M. He crossed that out. And he wrote Ohio State on the field. So if Ohio State couldn't put their flag in the M, but they could show Michigan who's boss in this game.
For sure.
Alabama survived the Iron Bowl against Auburn late Saturday night, the game being a nail-biter, and Alabama only really secured the win when Auburn fumbled with 20 seconds left. This rivalry means a lot to the state of Alabama and the rest of college football season. What does this mean for Alabama going into the SEC championship?
Yeah, I definitely think this proved Alabama they definitely need to play all 4 quarters. They were up 17-0. Auburn fought back and made it 20-20 going into the 4th quarter. So I definitely think Alabama did let up but their quarterback did play a phenomenal game, and ultimately they were able to pull through. But I think going into this SEC championship game, they really need to focus on playing clean 4 quarters.
Definitely, that's something huge that Alabama will move heading into that championship game. Some interesting matchups. They were able to hold on to the ball and grab those turnovers, unlike Auburn. So that was huge for them. Auburn, not able to really get the ball on the ground and recover those fumbles that they had. And then Alabama's kicker, kind of the little MVP of the game, as he went 2 for 2 making his field goals, which was huge for him because he's just made 65% of field goals all season. He's really kind of been on the struggle bus. So good for him that he was able to make those field goals. And we'll see, that could be huge moving into that SEC championship game. Alabama beat Georgia in the previous matchup in September just by 3. So a field goal could really make or break the game. So you're really going to kind of be watching him to see how he does in determining who's going to be the winner of that game.
Yeah, you definitely saw Ty Simpson's connection with his wide receivers was on point during this game. And as you said with the kicker, that was at Auburn Stadium. So props to him.
Yeah, this is a big game for them. And previous matchups have been so close for them, and Auburn's come out on top. We know the legendary plays that happened a couple of years back, so excited for them and looking forward to that SEC matchup. Underdog University of Texas was able to come out with a huge win against number 3 ranked Texas A&M. A&M came out hot to start, but was never able to regain the lead after Arch Manning's touchdown pass. This was definitely a Lone Star showdown. Let's discuss.
Yeah, Texas really played all 4 quarters here. That's kind of been the theme of all the games we've been discussing, is whatever team played all 4 quarters seems to have come out as the winner. And really, Texas A&M had a slight hope when there was under 3:51 left on the clock, but then Marcel Reed threw that interception to Taft as they were inside the 30 at the 3-yard line, and that really sealed the deal. You saw, the different expressions between the bench, the joy of Texas, and just the sadness that kind of overtook Texas A&M, and just kind of unfortunate for Texas A&M because they've had such a strong season. To lose this one, they haven't made it to the SEC title game since 2012 when they joined the league. So that says a lot about them there. And then it'll be interesting to see Texas, crept a little bit higher in the AP rankings. But what will the College Football Playoff Committee do? Probably they're not making the playoffs, but it does say a lot about, scheduling that game against Ohio State to start the season. And what does that mean to have those losses in your non-conference schedule? Should you kind of just make them super easy opponents, or should you try and schedule a little bit competitive and maybe it'll help you in the end?
If Texas does make the college football playoff, they'd be the only team with 3 losses to make the college football playoff ever. So that would definitely be interesting to watch. I do have to say, I think Texas A&M, their quarterback did go down early in the first quarter with a sprained ankle. He did return, only missed 1 play, but I think that might have played a factor in their loss, and definitely that interception. I definitely think in the third quarter, Texas came out, scored 10 points. Texas A&M resulted in 3 punts in a row. So after half, as you said, Texas A&M did just drop significantly.
There's definitely a shift in energy in that game, and these 3 games have been close. We've kind of talked about, teams started winning, then they started losing pretty instantly. There's been a switch in play. But this next game was not close at all. This winner of this in-state rivalry was no shock to any college football fans. Some may even doubt the rivalry at this point. Undefeated Indiana was able to easily defeat the not-so-successful Purdue football team. Indiana is able to continue their hot streak and steamroll right into the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Purdue last year lost 66-0. This year, held it a little bit closer, but still not a rivalry game. Indiana was able to blow through them. I do have to say, we did see Mendoza struggle a little bit, as he is from Miami. I think the cold got to him a little bit. He was 8 for 15 through 3 quarters, but overall, Indiana still able to capitalize, still able to take the win by a huge margin.
Definitely. Indiana, they've just been able to put up that high-powered offense, second highest scoring offense in all of college football. They've scored 50-plus points in 6 of their 12 games. So that'll be absolutely huge to see, how Ohio State's defense can combat that, as well as just no match for Purdue, this in-state rivalry, as Indiana's kind of really flown to the top of their prominence in terms of football. This rivalry just didn't mean meant as much, but it just wasn't as big of a factor in Purdue's defense being able to shut them down.
Yeah, I would say this rivalry doesn't mean much. If we take it into college basketball, I think it would mean a lot more for the team. But that's all for this year's rivalry weekend. Be sure to stay tuned with Penn State Sports Night for more college football coverage as we head into the playoffs and conference championships. For Kenzie, Farrey, and Julia Henry, I'm Charley Drechsler. Have a great night.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
For more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like, and follow our socials down below.
And as always, we are
Penn State Sports Night.